In the Supplier Spotlight, I sit down with John Babcock. He's the president of Satellite Industries. Unless you live under a rock, you know Satellite as the largest portable sanitation supplier in the game. But in this conversation, we dive into the real story, the people behind the brand, the vision, and the passion. I really hope you enjoy this conversation. Hey, John, welcome. Thank you for joining our first Supplier Spotlight.
Thank you, Matt. Good to be here.
Nice. We're so excited to have Satellite with us today. I think if you're in the portable sanitation industry, I hope know who Satellite is because you guys are so big. But what I think that a lot of people don't know, or that I'd like them to know, is what great human beings you are as well. And so we thought we'd bring you on this to talk to you, get to know you a little better. So let's start with the beginning. So, what was the core vision that inspired Satellite?
Well, so that would go back to 1958 when our founder, Al Hildy, was in the military, and they would do military exercises, and they'd provide tents, they'd provide food, medical care, equipment. And it dawned on them that when it came to provide for toilets, they provided me a shovel, right? And so that's kind of out of that thought came kind of the modern portable toilet rental businesses as we know it today. And so he came back to Minneapolis, and he and his wife built wooden boxes and cut 55-gallon steel oil drums in half for the tanks, and started promoting and started to grow little by little the company that we know as Satellite. We always like to talk internally, because when we ask him why did he do this, he always said there were three basic things that inspired him to do it, right? There's human dignity, which is probably first and foremost when it comes to sanitation,
Mm-hmm.
water savings, and then labor efficiency. So if you think about it, even FEMA in a natural disaster, portable sanitation is like a first responder, right? They get you water because you can't live very long without water. Then they get you sanitation because if you don't have sanitation, whatever water you have access to gets contaminated, and then you can die even quicker. And that even comes before food. So,
Mm-hmm.
basic human dignity.
Yep.
And you think about like construction sites and how much a 5-gallon charge will service for people versus a flushing toilet.
Yep.
Saves a lot of water. We calculated about 125 million gallons a day.
Wow.
The sanitation industry saves. And then labor efficiency. You don't want your workers leaving the site and going all over the place. And so you actually, if you take a map of the world and you look at GDP and
Mm-hmm.
you overlay portable toilet populations, they're pretty darn similar. And so that's, those are kind of all the thoughts that came together with the beginning of Satellite and how we can take this industry, preserve human dignity, save water, make labor efficient. And those were all kind of the initial visions that we were born from.
Nice. I'm
Yeah,
glad we've evolved past shovels. I mean,
a little
that's a
bit
good thing.
further.
Yeah. So, what about yourself, John? What led you to become the president of Satellite?
Well, so this was my first job out of college, believe it or not, was at Satellite 30 plus years ago. Was a customer service rep, answering the phone. Back then, we didn't have the fax yet. We didn't have email. We didn't have internet. So I engaged all the people I knew to mail me yellow pages. And I'd go through yellow page after yellow page, looking under toilet rental, and anywhere we were in the world would bring home yellow pages. Um, so spent a lot of time basic customer service, taking care of customers, getting to know products. Um, from there, I moved on to sales. We opened up a branch in Japan. So I spent 6 years in Tokyo,
Oh, wow.
running our division out of Tokyo. That was an incredible experience.
Yeah.
And then eventually came back onto the US side and got into manufacturing and supply chain, really getting to know our processes, how our products are built, plastics, supply chain, distribution. And then it just happened where when our former CFO started to get near retirement age, our owner, Todd Hildy, offered me a pathway. And so at 30, I went out and got my MBA in finance and eventually moved into the CFO role. And then eventually moved into the president position where I am today. But yet my favorite introduction when we hire new customer service people for the company is you guys have a very important job. I started in your job. You can go anywhere. And at Satellite, that's really true. It's been pretty cool to just stick with a company for 30 years and grow into every position available.
That's really neat. And I think that's a theme at Satellite, which really talks to the ethos of your company because everyone I've talked to there, it's like, I've been here for 30 years, 25 years, 40 years. It's like, holy cow, you guys are doing something right if people are staying there that long.
It really is a home and it's a family.
Mm-hmm.
And we build around people. And so as people see opportunities internally, they move, they move, they move. We have a internal joke of how many offices you've sat in. I've probably had 20 offices in the building over 30 years. And a lot of people just keep moving jobs and learning more.
Mm-hmm.
But we stick around.
Nice. And lots of opportunity for growth. That's an amazing thing. So
Yeah, growth is in our DNA, that's for sure.
is there a defining moment over when you're thinking back over those 30 years? Was there a defining moment in Satellite that really turned a corner for the company?
I think probably the most pivotal moment in our history was when our current owner, Todd Hildy, bought the company from his father. And
Mm.
it wasn't by any means, it was nothing like a second generation getting handed the baton. As a matter of fact, I think Al was harder on his son, probably sold the company for more to his son than someone off the street. He had to earn that business.
Yeah.
And so from the moment Todd took on ownership of the company, we started to focus on growing and diversification. His father was a pilot, and so branching was part of our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
At rental branches all over the United States. And so Satellite also started to branch, expanded in Europe, expanded in Asia, started to grow divisions that were focused on our customer base
Mm-hmm.
and providing them more products. So when I think back over the 30 years, that really was a pivot point, a turning point from being a portable toilet manufacturer who made deodorizer and trucks to being a global enterprise that sells toilets, trucks, restroom trailers, unit hauling trailers, now vacuum technology, consumables, PPE, are just the spirit of growth
Mm-hmm.
really took us when the son took over for the father.
Gotcha.
And that's when we pivoted.
And all there's been a lot of dividends, even though he probably paid more than he should have to his dad.
And it was a fun opportunity to preserve the basic culture and philosophy that the family had,
Mm-hmm.
yet apply a fresh new look on how I want to grow this business differently. And
Sure.
Yeah, that to me, that was the most pivotal moment in our history, I believe.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. That's a
Yeah.
good one. Over the years, what are, maybe one stands out, but what are some of the risks you guys took that, and how did they work out?
I think our biggest risks, which often give you the biggest rewards too, have been acquisitions.
Mm,
Um, no matter how much studying you do, no matter how many due diligence trips you take, no matter how deep you dig, until you own something and you start to peel back the layers of the onion, you never really know what you bought. And
yes,
so over the years, we've had a fair number of acquisitions. And each and every one was risky in its own way. Some were bigger, some were smaller, but they all carried a certain degree of uncertainty,
sure.
which, each one requires a different approach to make it succeed. Um, and I think we've done pretty good with it, but that's been our biggest risks over the years.
Yeah, that is a
Yeah.
big one. I mean, we just recently acquired a company, and in my past, I've been involved with software purchases of trying to bring companies together. There's the culture aspect, there's the products aspect, and it is not easy, but it's you guys have done a lot of them, and clearly you've done it well because there's it's been a smooth, maybe from the externally. I know you may not think it was totally smooth, but externally it looks pretty smooth. So kudos to you all on that stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
driving a successful acquisition, or even running a company, as probably know, it's like being a passenger in an airplane. If you really know what was going on in the cockpit, you wouldn't fly. But
yeah,
you look at it from the outside and it looks smooth.
yeah,
But everybody's hustling to make it work, and
that's right.
yeah, we're hustling every day.
But it's paying off. It is paying
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
What about was there a time in the company where you guys pivoted or made a shift in strategy? And how did that work out?
Yeah, so I think as well as like with the acquisitions, the diversification was a pretty strong pivot point for us.
Hmm.
Um, for decades, our bread and butter was the portable toilet, which is a very seasonal and a very cyclical product. So
Yep.
up and down and up and down. And as we started to diversify and grow our deodorizer business and grow our truck business, it allowed us to have more relationships with more customers. Um, Now we have opportunities to do something with everybody. Some of our customers have all of our products, some of them only buy one. But that diversification was a big pivot point for us and just allowed us to leverage our great customer relationships in some way.
Hmm. Very,
Yeah.
very nice. Um, and that's a scary thing too when you think about plastics inside and out, left and right. You know exactly how it's going to behave, and suddenly you bring on these other things, and that is definitely a scary shift in strategy that has worked out because it's like, how do I capture more of this and help the customer with more areas of their business besides plastics? So
Yeah.
seems like a really good strategy too.
Well, and the beautiful thing about it is it's the same customer base.
Hmm.
So we're not off making computers and we're not off
Yeah,
things that are outside of our passion and our world. So it's selling more and making more for the people that we currently serve.
sure.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Um, over 30 years of your time, how Satellite kept up with the changes in the industry? We've most recently gone through a very big change with COVID happening and just shaking up the industry and causing it to behave in a different way than that normal cyclical. But what are some of the things that have happened over the time?
Um, well, the beauty of being a private company is, we can pivot and we can be entrepreneurial.
Hmm.
So the key to that for us is listening. Uh, we have to listen to the customers. We have to listen to their challenges. I always try to tell my team, complaints are the fertilizer for innovation. Uh, if you can hear a complaint and you can solve it, that's your opportunity to shine. That's your opportunity to innovate. And so, yeah, COVID threw a massive amount of challenges our way. And we doubled our manufacturing capacity in a year. We utilized 3D printing for prototyping. We were in the office every day throughout the pandemic,
Mm.
and just applied our passion to what we do.
Mm-hmm.
It's our life. We can't do anything but keep plying our passion for what we love to do.
I like your innovation comment. I might steal that. That's a good one. um,
Complaints are the fertilizer for innovation.
it's fantastic. You guys should have t-shirts, satellite t-shirts that have that on the back.
Fertilize me.
Okay, so what about when, like I said earlier, when you have people that have stayed at a company for so long, there's clearly a decent company culture, or else no one would stay for that long at a terrible company culture. So you guys have done something really well. How have you built that culture? And then personally for you, as you became president, how did you put your stamp on that?
Sure. Well, I believe we have a very solid culture at Satellite. It revolves around what we call our circle of culture. It's on our website, it's in our offices, right there behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Every facility you walk into, it's prominently displayed in our lobby. And there's 6 tenets that really define our culture. Um, Ethical, which is my favorite and one of my most important, is uh, you do it right or you don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
It actually makes guiding and managing a company fairly straightforward. Do the right thing. It doesn't get more simple than that. So
Yeah.
you know that you will always be dealing with an ethical company, which is a
Mm-hmm.
foundation for a good company. Number 2 is service oriented yes people. And I always tell everybody that's a yes, but. Yes, you can have it tomorrow, but there's a little bit of an extra freight charge. But at the end of the day, we find a way to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
That is our culture is serve our customers with a servant's heart.
Mm-hmm.
Customers don't like to hear, no, we can't do that. No, that's against our policy. No, we try our best to be that service oriented yes people. Humble is a cornerstone of our culture. I personally believe ego is the most destructive force in business and personal relationships. And ego has no place in a solid business culture.
Mm-hmm.
And so we work just we're humble people, hardworking people in a humble industry. And that's part of our culture. Competitive, we like to compete. Being the industry leader, we have a few more competitors than everyone else because everyone's trying to knock us off the hill, but we enjoy it. Our industry, while competitive, is also very cooperative and friendly, and we all work towards the better of the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And so we balance that. Teamwork, we love a collaborative, flat organization, a lot of empowerment, a lot of decision making, and highly functional teams. Aggressive, and this isn't a mean bully aggressive. This is just a driven. I see a goal. It might be 10 years in the future, but we're going to go there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that aggressive approach to managing our business. And then a big one is profitable. We have an obligation to our customers to remain profitable. Our customers have built their entire business around our equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Their livelihood is dependent on the continuance of that equipment. So if you look at how many companies we've acquired over the years and how many we've acquired out of a distressed financial situation and continued those product lines, we need to maintain profitability in order to be here 20, 30, 50, 70 more years as we want our customers. So, and as far as personally influencing that, I guess the only thing I can say is live your life by example. Uh, the 6 tenets that our circle of culture is built around, I try to lead my life by example, and with the same culture that I run the business with, which means it's genuine.
Mm-hmm.
It Everybody looks to the leaders on how they behave, how they speak, how they dress, how they treat others, and you just live your culture every day, and that's how you guide it.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. Do you use those 6 tenets of your core values when you're hiring? And I would assume that you're looking for certain things in employees, and they would come out of those core values. Is that true?
They would. The every interview I've ever done, the circle of culture is part of the initial interview,
Mm.
as is the conversation that it's a two-way street. You have to want to join us as much as we want to hire you. So it has to be both ways. You have to agree to our culture, and we have to, agree to you. It's
I
a
like that.
social contract. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Because if you're not excited to come work for some place, if it's just a job, then it's just going to be that, right?
Yeah.
And
Might as
so
well pack up and go home.
that's right. You guys are
Love what you
creating
do.
something different. Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree. Um, so let's get to some fun stuff. So, like, what are you personally, or what is the company excited about, or what some of your new products or things you have coming down that you can talk about on this episode?
Well, there are some upcoming innovations that I can talk about and some that I can't. And that's the fun part of being an innovator is you always get your R&D playground. One of the things, though, that we're very excited about is we're getting heavily into vacuum technology, which
Mm.
is a growing segment in our industry. Last February, we acquired a company called Sanitrax that has some
Mhm.
very innovative vacuum technology products. And we're using that as a springboard into multiple avenues of vacuum technology. Just this past month, we also acquired a company called Scanvagen, which is the leading trailer manufacturer in Europe.
Mm.
They've got some quite innovative designs and technology that are we're very excited to incorporate some of that innovation into our lineup. So the fun thing about being a leader in the market is that opportunities kind of come to you.
Mhm.
And there's days that we feel that we have more opportunities than we can digest, and we have to pick which ones are closest to our core, which ones our customers are going to appreciate the most. But we're super fortunate in being able to just have so many opportunities to pursue for innovation going forward. It's exciting.
Great.
It's
Very much so. And you guys
Yeah,
get to do it on a worldwide scale, which is even more fun, I think.
which adds a different dimension to it.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a fun process, but
Nice.
lots of innovation to come, having to do with new technology, internet enabled technology. Just
Mm.
uh, things are moving faster than a lot of us can even comprehend how fast we have to keep up with things.
Mm. Well, exciting stuff to come for sure. How about on a more personal note, what are you most proud of your time in satellite?
So my proudest moments, and I always tell our owner this, my proudest moments are when I'm visiting a facility and it's after hours and everyone's gone home. It's kind of dark, and I look around and it's like, wow, I think of that globally. We have almost 1,000 employees under my care and custody, their families, we have their children, we have our customers that have built their businesses with us, our customers' families, and you stand there in this quiet plant, and it's a little overwhelming,
Mhm.
in that you get to impact so many people's lives. Um, Being in the portable sanitation industry, I take some ribbing from my friends and family, and my favorite comeback is, you know what? Unless you don't leave your house, there's not a day that's going to go by where you don't see a satellite product out there in the street. You're going to see one every day. That's how many people we touch. And I'll get emails from friends a year later that says, curse you. Every freaking day I see a toilet now. It's been going on a year. For me, that's my proud moment. Um, how many people we can touch, and being able to do this for 30 years and to continually grow and to continually want to come into work every day. It's quite amazing.
That's wonderful. And something that, we work in an industry that isn't glamorous and easily discounted by others that are looking from the outside. But I will say that the people that we serve are some of the most down to earth,
Yeah.
friendly, warm, family focused people I've ever met in my career. And I feel blessed to be a part of that. And I'm sure that you have similar feeling being in this industry for so long.
Matt, it really is a blessing. Our industry, I think, is unique in all the world. It's global, yet it feels so family oriented and
Mm-hmm.
close. Yeah, we're lucky.
That's wonderful.
We're lucky.
Um, okay, so what about anything else you want to share with our audience? Anything juicy, or I'm just trying to pull all the good stuff out of you, John.
All the good stuff. Well,
Well,
I'll just share a real personal note or experience. And this was kind of my pivotal moment personally, um, in my career at Satellite. And it kind of embodies who we are. And I mean, I still get emotional when I think about it, but uh, I first took on the role of president. And I remember standing next to Al Hildy, our founder, and here I am all puffy chest and proud. And I'm like, don't worry, Al, I'm going to take good care of the company. And he looked up at me with these eyes of incredible wisdom. And he says, no, John, you don't worry about taking care of the company. You take care of the employees and you take care of the customers. They're the ones that are going to take care of the company. And I was like, wow,
yeah.
eye-opening moment for me. And that's kind of defined my thinking from that moment on. And that's
Mhm.
that's who I try to be. You take
Mhm.
care of the people around you, and they will take care of you.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just
That's
incredible.
perfect. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's perfect.
and that was my pivot point with Satellite.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Well, John, this has been an amazing conversation, and
this has
getting
been
to know
fun.
Satellite on a personal level has been personally great for me to meet a lot of the folks that you work with. But I'm glad our audience got to see a little look under the hood of and have a sidebar conversation with you, the president of Satellite. So, John, I just want to say thank you so much, and we hope to have you back on some of our other featured shows that we do for the portable sanitation industry. But thank you so much.
Love to do that, and you guys, your contributions so appreciated too. It's we're all part of this awesome family, and everyone plays a good role. So I
Great.
appreciate you.
Likewise. Thank you, John.
All right, thanks, Matt.